Hello wonderful women, it's Claudia from Nourished by Claudia, and today is part 2 of the 2 series videos on the 10 red flags to understand if you're still stuck in the dieting mentality. So in the last videos we talked about the first 5 red flags, and I would like to apologize, but I am 35 weeks pregnant and this baby is not only taking all the energy out of my body, but it's also draining my brain. And right now, the baby brain is very real. So that's why I have to rely on my note to go through what we discussed on the last video. And please, if you haven't watched it, just pause this one and go back and do so. And also for the next few tips. But please bear with me because I'm going to share so many important information, and they're going to be very life-changing if you want to recover from HA or if you want to restore your menstrual cycle and live a healthier life. So the first 5 tips that we talk about, the first one was you restrict your calories during the day. So that's a big sign to understand if you're still following dieting mentality and if you are following whatever it's written on Instagram or on the magazines instead of what your body really wants. The second tip is that you're still relying on external tools like the scale in the bathroom, scale in the kitchen, the fitness trackers, MyFitnessPal, to understand if you're eating enough or if you should be eating less or more. The third tip is that you don't eat when you're hungry, you just eat when it's time to do so, when you think that it's time to do so. And please, I invite you to stop that as soon as possible, because if your body is sending you hunger signals, it means that it's asking for energy so that it can restore its functions in the proper way. Tip number 4, you have lots of fear foods. So, for example, you're still not eating after 9 o'clock, or if you're not eating until 11 o'clock in the morning, or you haven't tried a muffins or a croissant for the longest time. So all these fear foods are part of diet mentality, and you need to challenge them one by one. I know that it sounds easier said than done, but that's the only way to move forward. And last but not least, you exercise to change your body shape. Exercise is super important, and I'm not going to advise anyone to stop exercising entirely because it makes you feel better and it sends lots of adrenaline and endorphins in your body. But still, if you don't have a functioning menstrual cycle, or if your hormones are all out of whack, just please refrain yourself from hardcore exercises such as CrossFit, running, even swimming sometimes, and just go for a walk in nature, preferably wearing flip-flops, so you can take it very slow. But now let's move on to the remaining 5 tips that tells you if you're still stuck in the dieting mentality. So tip number 6, you exercise twice a day. Honestly, what's the point? What's the need of exercising twice a day? Unless you're an athlete. And even though it doesn't really mean that you have to exercise twice a day, but if you're a normal Joe that goes to work, that has a family, that has a hectic social life, do you really have the time to squeeze in 2 exercise sessions in one day? Or even, do you have the time to spend 3 hours at the gym every single day? I invite you to reconsider and find a different hobby, like, I don't know, crochet, learning a new language, catching up with new friends, expanding your social circle. But please steer away from exercising twice a day because it's sending stress signals to your body, and right now your body needs to be in the parasympathetic state more than in the sympathetic state, which means that it needs to go into the rest and digest mode and not in the fight and flight mode. I hope it makes sense. Tip number 7, you go hard or you go home. Do you know when you wake up in the morning and you drag yourself out of bed to go to the 5 a.m. exercise session because you booked it the night in advance, you put the alarm clock and you are up and awake, and even though you really don't feel like going to the exercise session, you still show up because that's what you do, that's the habit, that's the routine. Doesn't matter if you're tired or not. And then you start exercising and you realize that you're hating every single second of it, but you still push yourself through the limit. You even go through the risk of getting injured because you just have a black and white thinking, or you go hard or you go home, but you never go home. If that's your mentality right now, I invite you to rephrase it and also to act in a different way. Some days we're meant to exercise, some other days we're meant to sleep a little bit more. Maybe the previous day was really stressful for you. Maybe the night wasn't really a good night. Maybe it was too hot. Maybe you woke up more often than usual. So just follow what your body's telling you and you're gonna reap the rewards very soon. Tip number 8, you don't fuel after exercising. If you're still doing that, you are in trouble, my darling. I've lived so many years going to a 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. exercise class to then have only a very strong coffee and avoid eating until even 12 o'clock or 1 p.m. And that's crazy because this is sending all the wrong signals to your body. This is putting your body in such a stressful state that it really doesn't make sense if you want to live a healthy life. So please, every single time that you exercise, just make sure that you have a proper meal or a snack within the next 30 minutes window after you stop the training. Okay? Promise me that you can do that. Tip number 9, you sacrifice sleep to exercise. Let's say that you come home from work very late, or maybe you go out at nighttime and then you fall asleep around 12 o'clock. And then the alarm goes off at 5 a.m. because that's when you go to the CrossFit session or that's when you catch up with your running buddies. This is a sign that you're not really supporting your body, but you're fighting against it. If you need to sleep, sleep. If you need to rest, rest. If you feel revitalized and energized enough to exercise, then move your body. But please, once again, listen to what your body is telling you. Not your brain, not your alarm clock, not all the external tools, just your body. And trust me, your life is gonna improve so much. And last tip, you sacrifice your social life to stick to a meal plan or to an exercise routine. Now, I understand if you're going through a very life-changing situation, so for example, you have just been diagnosed with Crohn's disease or diabetes or anything like that, and you need to stick to a meal plan, then I understand that maybe it's quite fearful for you to go out and go to a random restaurant and enjoy all the foods that you really would like to. But if you're trying to recover from hypothalamic amenorrhea, or if your hormones are all out of whack and you're not fueling enough, then please, instead of sticking to a meal plan, instead of sticking to a very grueling exercise routine, just go out and have fun with your friends, because life is so much more than restriction and exercising. Alrighty, my darling girls, so that's enough for today. I really hope that I'm gonna chat to you soon, and I trust that you have already joined my Facebook group, my private Facebook group, Recover from Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Support Group, and you are already part of my HA Expert Secrets membership. If you aren't already, you can find the link below. And ciao for now.